The morning sun climbed slowly over the western plains, casting long shadows across the cracked earth as if the land itself remembered the sins committed upon it. In the quiet distance, the old Dust Creek bus stop stood alone, weather-beaten boards, a rusted lantern hook, and a trail where wagon wheels once rolled before progress swallowed the frontier. It was here, at this lonely edge of nowhere, that the boy had been left. He sat on the splintered bench, dust clinging to his clothes, fear tightening his throat. His stepmother's carriage wheels had vanished beyond the ridge long ago, taking with them the last illusion that he mattered in her carefully constructed world. She had not looked back. She had not needed to. Wealth gave her the confidence that no one would question a woman like her, not even when she abandoned the Millionaire's only son in the middle of the frontier. The boy trembled as a windstorm rolled through, scattering dust like an omen. Coyotes howled from the distant canyon. Silence followed, heavy and merciless. Hours passed with the cruel patience of the Wild West. No rider came. No wagon appeared. Only the emptiness of the road stretched endlessly before him. Then came the faint sound of footsteps, light, uncertain, yet carrying a purpose. A little girl, no older than 10, emerged from the trail leading to the small settlement of Prairie. Her dress was faded, her boots scuffed, but her eyes carried a fierceness untouched by hardship. She approached the boy with a cautious step, as though she recognized the pain of someone discarded by their own blood. Prairie was a town where nothing stayed secret for long. She had seen the stepmother earlier, heard the sharp crack of her voice, sensed the cruelty behind her perfect posture. The girl followed the road out of concern, not quite knowing what she expected to find. What she found was a child shivering in the dust, left like unwanted freight. Without words, she guided him off the empty road, leading him toward safety, toward the settlement where her grandfather kept a small ranch on the outskirts. As they walked, the wind shifted, stirring the scent of rain and danger. Something in the air felt wrong, to still, to watchful. For miles, no riders had passed, yet the girl felt eyes on them. Beneath the ridge, hidden behind boulders, a figure on horseback watched the two children move away from the bus stop. He adjusted his hat low over his eyes, studying them with a predator's patience. He recognized the boy, the Millionaire's heir, and he understood the value placed on his disappearance. The figure tugged on the reins, directing the horse down the slope with slow, calculated intent. The children did not look back. They did not see the danger closing in, and as the last sliver of sunlight cut across the hard earth, the shadow of the approaching rider stretched toward them, long and merciless, a threat silently preparing to strike. The girl's grandfather's ranch stood at the edge of Prairie, a humble patch of land surrounded by mesquite trees and memories. Its fences leaned at tired angles, its barns bore the scars of storms, and its cattle numbered too few to call it a livelihood. But the ranch was a refuge, a place where honesty held more weight than gold. The boy felt the difference as soon as he crossed the threshold. The old man did not ask questions. He simply observed the fear in the boy's eyes, the dirt in his hair, the silence that clung to him like a second skin. There was no need for words. The West had taught him to read suffering like weather signs. He offered shelter, food, and the unspoken understanding that safety was something earned slowly. In the following days, the boy found solace in the quiet rhythms of ranch life. The girl stayed close, wary yet protective, sensing that he carried a secret wound deeper than abandonment. But something else lingered, a tension in the air, as if the prairie itself braced for a coming storm. The man on horseback had reached the outskirts of Prairie. He did not ask for directions, nor did he enter the saloon or general store. Instead, he moved silently, studying the town the way a wolf studies a herd. He carried the hardened demeanor of an outlaw, yet his clothing bore the polish of someone once trusted. His eyes told a story of betrayal, both received and delivered. He was hired for one purpose: make sure the Millionaire's son never returned home. Days earlier, the stepmother had offered him a sum larger than any honest man could dream of, promising wealth in exchange for silence and swift action. But the outlaw had his own agenda. He knew the Millionaire. He had ridden under him years before, back when loyalty still meant something. The betrayal of leaving a child to die cut him deeper than any bullet wound. Yet money had its own law on the frontier, and he was a man long at war with righteousness. Night settled over the ranch. The girl sensed movement beyond the stable but dismissed it as wind. The boy dreamed of the bus stop, of wagon wheels disappearing, of being lost in the endless plains. The old man cleaned his rifle in silence, as if compelled by an instinct he did not yet fully understand. Far beyond the barn, a horse exhaled quietly. The outlaw dismounted, boots sinking into the dust. He scanned the ranch, recognizing it as the hiding place he had been searching for. He inspected the footprints in the soil, 2 small sets leading toward the farmhouse. His jaw tightened. His target was close, but as he crept closer, he saw something unexpected. The girl slipping out the back door, moving toward the corral with a lantern in hand. The outlaw hesitated. She was the reason the boy was alive, and she had seen his face once before long ago. In a moment he wished he could erase. The lantern flickered. The girl froze. The outlaw stepped from the shadows. The lantern's flame died in an instant, leaving the ranch yard swallowed in darkness. The girl felt the cold creep of fear, yet her instincts kept her silent. The outlaw studied her with an expression torn between guilt and duty. He had come for the boy, but standing before the girl reminded him of a past he tried to bury, a time when he had failed to protect someone just like her. The memory left a crack in his hardened resolve. The commotion stirred the boy awake. He moved to the window, noticing the shadows shifting by the corral. An unease twisted through him, an instinct sharpened by the cruelty he had endured. He descended the stairs with quiet steps, careful not to wake the old man, who had dozed by the empty fireplace. Outside, the night breeze carried the scent of rain, dust, and danger. The boy crept closer, heart pounding as he recognized the outlaw from distant glimpses during his father's ranch. Gatherings always, lurking at the edges, always watching. The realization came like a lightning strike. This was no stranger. This was someone deeply connected to his father's past. The outlaw spotted the boy and stiffened. The children stood side by side, united by fear yet anchored by something stronger, an unspoken understanding of survival. Their silence unsettled the outlaw more than any weapon. Inside the farmhouse, the old man awoke with a start. Something in the stillness felt wrong, the kind of wrong that only years on the frontier could detect. He grabbed his rifle and stepped into the night. The outlaw knew time was slipping away. If he failed, the stepmother's plan would unravel. Her ambition stretched farther than simple inheritance. She sought total control of the millionaire's vast land empire. Removing the boy was the key. She had spun her lies carefully, painting the child as difficult, unstable, prone to wandering. Few would question her if tragedy found him. But as the outlaw stared at the 2 children, he felt the weight of what he had become. He had chased gold for so long that he had forgotten the cost of losing one's soul. The old man emerged, rifle steady despite age. The standoff unfolded quietly. 3 lives suspended in the tension of the moonlit air. The outlaw's hand hovered near his holster, but something in his expression shifted. He lowered his gaze, the burden of his choices finally breaking him. He confessed everything, not with words, but in a defeated way. He released his weapon and stepped back from the children. The West had a harsh code, but even it offered a sliver of redemption to men who faced their sins. Yet redemption did not erase danger. A horse approached at full gallop from the ridge. The stepmother arrived in a frenzy, fury burning hotter than the desert sun. She had followed the outlaw's trail, desperate to ensure the job was done. When she saw the boy alive, her mask shattered, revealing the cold ruthlessness beneath her polished exterior. She charged forward, reaching for the outlaw's dropped weapon, but the old man fired a warning shot that split the air. The stepmother's horse reared, throwing her violently to the ground. Dust rose around her like judgment. The truth spread through Briar Grove within hours. Witnesses stepped forward. The outlaw surrendered. The millionaire rode in days later. Grief and shame etched into his face as he learned of the betrayal rooted in his own home. The boy found safety in the ranch that had sheltered him. The girl remained his steadfast anchor, and the outlaw, broken, yet honest, at last accepted the justice of the frontier, grateful only that the children still breathed. In the end, the prairie kept its secrets, but it delivered its justice with an unyielding hand. And as dawn rose over Dust Creek, the land felt lighter as though one story of cruelty had finally reached its rightful end.